English, okay. So Soren and I discussed it, and we were talking about which subject. No one was doing special teams or so I was like, oh, I can do special teams. But then it came more into the fact of the success we've had here in Bad Homburg to start. From being a new verein to having almost 1,000 people per game and all that, and so many players involved and so many members in our club and stuff. So we decided to talk more about the business aspect of what we did. I spoke with Thomas earlier. I find that in football, we are all fans of the same game. It doesn't matter if we wear different colors on game day. We should all, as a Randsport, we should work together to advance our game as far as we can. And if people do something at one verein better than the other, talk about it. Because if everyone gets better, that just raises the entire game. And the better the game is, the more people watch it, theoretically. The more people that watch it, the more money is, the more professional it'll get, and the more fun we can have with it. So I'm going to talk about some stuff we did here in Bad Homburg that helped us to have the instant success that we had. And anytime I'm talking about something, if you have questions, feel free to ask, interrupt me, just put your hand up, say, hey, I have a question, and we'll get going with it. You can speak German, I understand enough. So, quick facts about us here in Bad Homburg. About me, I played 3 seasons here as an import. It was 2 seasons in Frankfurt, 1 in Mannheim. My honest thing was I came to a point where I was always finding myself unhappy where I was because I was used to a certain level. I understood the way it worked here, and I said there's got to be a way where we can mix it. The best of the American sport with the German Verein mentality, because neither one is right, neither one is wrong. But there's got to be a way to mix it. Talked to some people, tried to make it work. Egos got in the way. Didn't happen. So at the end of the day, I said, screw it. I'm doing my own thing. So with us, we started September 28th, 2015. We had a press conference here in this exact room. We had about 50 people here, press, media, and all that. We said, okay, hey, we're doing football in Bad Homburg. Let's roll. The history of Bad Homburg, there was a team back here. They founded in, I believe, 1980 or so, and they were dissolved in 1995. So in 2015 was perfect. It was 20th anniversary. It just all worked out in our favor. Then in October 27, 2015, we had our first tryout. Put an event on Facebook. We said, okay, let's do it. And we had no idea. We were like, maybe 5 people come, maybe 10 people come, maybe 20 people come. End up having 90 guys. I didn't know what to do with it. We're sitting there. We had 10 lines with 9 guys in warm-ups. It was a chaos. I had no idea what to do. I was like, shit, I planned for like 20 people and we have 90. But then from there, it just kept rolling. And March 20th, we had our first friendly game here in this stadium behind you. We toured the 4th league. But of course, our Thunderbirds, we lost 20-34. Won the first half, lost the game. That's how it happens. It was more important to get the rookies playing time. There we had 750 fans. And through the months, almost exactly 3 months later, we ended up playing the championship game in the Verbands League. We lost that as well, but can't win them all. We had 1,600 fans in the stadium. It's pretty damn good. I was shocked as well. But something's got to be working. The people are buying in. And at the end of the day, that's helping everyone because those people talk to those people talk to those people. Maybe someone here knows someone in Offenbach, knows someone in Schwäbisch Hall, knows someone in Mainz. They say, oh, I was at a football game. It was a lot of fun. Then they'll come check out your club. And that's how it works. Word of mouth is key. For us, we ended up going 7-1 in the first season. We outscored our opponents 381-29. We averaged about 900 to 1,000 fans at the game. And so in about, 13 months or so, we're about 275 members in the club already, roughly. We have 105 men, 75 youth, and 30 cheerleaders, and the rest are fans that just want to be a part of it. That changes all the time. Someone has to go study here, someone has to go study there. We lose one, we gain one, we lose one, we gain one. Typical. Why and how? Location. Rhein-Main, this area is the football mecca. There's, within this area, you go an hour, I would say within an hour of here, there's the most football teams in any area in Germany. Maybe except Berlin, there's like 14 up there, but everything's in this area. There's a ton of football teams. The history in Bad Homburg with the Bad Homburg Falcons back in the 80s and early 90s. The personnel. We had luck to get personnel of all guys that played in this area, so they knew people here, knew people there, and then everyone kind of came together. A lot of luck. A lot of luck. I'll be honest with you, there's always luck involved. Planning, that was an idea that brewed over 3 years for me. We had other people that had the same ideas. We all came together, made a plan, and went forward with it. The marketing, we had a pretty good marketing push. I mean, an average Facebook post for us will reach anywhere from about 10,000 people. That's not bad. We don't do any paid posts. I'll tell you guys right now, our marketing budget for 2016 was 25 euros. That was our entire marketing budget for 2016. We've had one thing, the Super Bowl party, I think we did a push for 10 euros, and then for the championship game, we did a push for 15 euros. That was it. We paid nothing. I'll get to that a little bit later. And then the last thing was just more and more luck. So from the Verein structure here, we have a top-down hierarchy where that goes to the sense of, in our Vorstand, we have 3 people. The reason we decided 3 instead of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, as many Vereins is because the more people you have, the more Meinungen. And you guys all know how it works here. If you have 7, 8, 9 people on a table, a meeting that should take 20 minutes will end up going 2.5 hours. And nothing gets accomplished. So we said we'll keep it small, klein aber fein. So the decisions get made quickly and how we want it to be. Because the people that are in the Vorstand were the ones that decided to found the club. Of course, we listen to other people, but at the end of the day, it gets done how it needs to get done. We have a triangle concept. That's a real basic concept. I'll draw it up here so we can say, okay, we have person 1, person 2, person 3. We go with the triangle concept where everyone has a main role and then they have kind of 2 sub-roles that they assist in. So for example, my role is football. So I'm up top doing football. I also do the financing because I'm a banker professionally. So I handle money all day. Why not handle this as well? So I do the financing. And then I kind of just do whatever needs to get done because that's the job of the president, CEO. Whatever needs to get done, you just do it. So I'll just put everything here. Make it easy. So the number 2, for example, in our case, that would be Max. Max here will do the financing. Max does the marketing and also helps in daily operations. I call it daily operations because he's German. I'm not. It's the same way anywhere you go. The best example would be if you want to buy a house in America. You go someplace that you look on there, there's John Smith, best Immobilienmakler. Bill Smith, second best Immobilienmakler. Tim Smith, third best. Franz Klein, oder sowas. Oh, he's a German. Who do you go to? The German. That's just how it works. If I call someone, half the time they don't understand me on the phone, so it makes no sense for me to call them. So that's what Max does. And then you have number 3, who would be, for example, we can call this game day, who will also help with daily operations and then works on fan shop, catering, something like that, just a rough idea. So how we run it is you have 3 people, everyone has their main role, but then they all pair up somehow into having combined roles so that one person isn't in charge of everything. Well, in that sense, one person is in charge of something, but gets supported from someone in another role. For example, number 3, game day events and all that stuff. there's the off season. So in that off season, he has nothing really to do. So he supports in the daily operations.
But he got the last word then?
Who?
The guy that's like on the top of the triangle?
Yeah, number one.
No, I mean like, I don't know, game day.
So in that case, I mean, okay, everyone has their own roles. At the end of the day, the Erste Vorsitz has kind of the last say. Because it's, yes, okay, everyone has their fair share of votes, but we run ourselves kind of an American system. There's the boss, and then everyone, at the end of the day, it goes through him. But it's also 2016, we're in a free democracy. Everyone has a say, and you get your stuff done. You still talk about it, but with 3 people, it's much easier to get something done than with 9 people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the number 3rd guy is like in charge for game days.
Yep.
And it's like, he do everything what he want to do. And,
I mean, alles wird abgesprochen, aber klar, macht sein Ding.
But it's like, this is his job.
Yeah, that's his job.
Not yours, though.
No, that's not my job. So that's how it works. So like this right here, this is my main job. And so for example, for us, the daily Buchhaltung, so to say, we get bills in, we pay money out, we do this, we do that. Normally, Max will handle that part. But when it comes to the Überblick, that's me. I deal with our Steuerberater. I do the overall financing. Max will go in and do this and do that, but we communicate because everyone, if you share roles, it gets done. But when someone, say for example, you're in charge of the fan shop. You do everything for the fan shop. One day you just say, screw it, I'm gone. No one else knows. So everyone kind of helps and supports. So like in that case with the financing, Max and I talk a lot. I say, okay, I get bills in, I'll organize them, I'll put it on his desk and say, hey, kannst du den ablegen? Or so we just work together, and you have places where it überschneidet, but then everyone has their own roles. So that really, really works well for us, because even for that, like in this case, certain things have happened in the last weeks. I had to take over the role for all 3. But you can just communicate with each other and say, hey, I'll do this. What do you need to be done? What do you need to be done? And it really works out well for us. So I could recommend that for you all if you need it. It's a really easy system, and it helps for the overall communication as well, because you don't get so stressed because you know someone's there to support you, or someone can help with the work if you get to that point, and it's not like pulling Joe Smith in that has no idea what's going on. They still have a little bit of daily operations that see that side of the business. Even though they're not focused so much on it, they can still help out with it. For then, we have the top-down hierarchy where it's the Vorstand, then you have the sport directors, men's and youth, then you have your coaches and your parents. Normally the parents should go to the coach will come to the director comes to the Vorstand. Sometimes, of course, as always, the parents write directly to the Vorstand, and that just needs to be handled. But it kind of has that chain of command, because there's certain questions. The Vorstand, for example, myself, I don't need to get an email from 16 parents, when does my 13-year-old son have practice? That should go to the Jugendsportliche Leiter. But that chain of command in the vereins I've been in, it kind of misses sometimes, and everyone kind of goes everywhere and tries to do other people's jobs. But when you have this top-down system and there's a clear defined role, back into this case, everyone kind of knows what their job is and they run smoothly, and you don't have person A trying to do this, person A trying to do this, that, this, that, this. Person A does his job and helps somewhere else if needed, and then can pass you on to the person that's needed. Which really clears up the communication channels. Micromanaging, removing micromanaging. That's another issue. A lot of people micromanage and try to have the Erste Vorsitz versucht, alles zu kontrollieren. That doesn't work. You can't handle it all. There's too much going on. So in the start, I'm not going to lie, we micromanaged because we had a set plan of how we want to get it done, and we got it done. But then the real trick was to remove the micromanaging and to allow those people we put in roles of power and roles of responsibility that we could step back and allow them to take over. But thank goodness, and hopefully it keeps going well. Our mentality, as you can already see, is a little bit different. In Germany, football is a hobby sport, but there needs to be that mix between professionality and hobby. Yeah, it is a hobby. No one's making millions of dollars here. But if you don't have this professional attitude towards it, bad things can happen. How many vereins come and go? A ton. And with that, you kind of have to have that business aspect to it. You can't just say, okay, Bill, Joe, and Bob, let's make a football team, and then we'll see what happens. You have to have that business structure to keep going, especially with German Finanzamt, Steuer, and alles. It doesn't work if you don't have that professional setup. After 2 or 3 years, it'll eventually catch up to you, and then Feierabend. And Steuer and taxes, that's another thing. Look around. Most people, most Steuerberaters, they don't like Verein Steuer, because die verdienen nichts. But just look around and talk to enough and find someone. I know a ton of Vereins that try to do their own taxes. In Germany, the taxes are crazy. I've been in business, in that business world, the last 10 years. I know how it works in the States. I've read about it in Germany, because I do in both countries. I need to learn. Find a Steuerberater. Auch für den Haftpflicht. You're safer that way. If you don't have one, go look for one. If you talk to your friend, find one, because at the end of the day, it's better to pay a little bit of money for him instead of like all the other Vereins getting screwed at the end, because most Vereins get screwed on that end as well. They say, oh, we don't have any sponsors. No, they usually messed up the taxes, because there is no playing games. If you lose your AV, kein license. So really think about that aspect of investing in a Steuerberater, just to have that person there, to, even with Spendungquittung gegen Rechnung, what's needed. That's those small things. It's better just to have that person, a little bit of money extra, to have that. Germans love Versicherung. It's that extra Versicherung that really helps with the running of the Verein. So from the support base of the Verein, what's really important is a game day manager. We have one that does a really good job. And that's because someone needs to be in charge of the whole thing, because if people come to a game, they're expecting not just a bunch of people hanging out watching a game. It's not backyard football. That little bit of a show and all that stuff, we'll talk about that later. But have someone that's just responsible. It's that person that can go to say, okay, where do the tables need to be set up? Where does this need to be set up? That really helps with the overall flow. Helpers are key. I know I've never been to a Siegen game, a Mainz game either. Schwäbisch Hall I've been to Waldorf. I played in Frankfurt. You need a lot of people to get these games done. Alone for us, we were a 6th league team in the first year. We had 50 helpers per game day. You need the people, because you have Getränkewagen, Essen, Fanshop, Sicherheit, Verkehrsordnung, and sowas. You need the people. So it's really important. We had 1 or 2 issues in the beginning where everyone was like, oh yeah, ich bin dabei. And then you're sitting there like, okay, where the hell are you? You got to really make sure you have your people there. And you got to find the people that you know are going to be there, because if like, for example, new fans, at the end of the day, we want fans here. Because the more people at the games, the more money that comes into the Verein, the more popular the sport becomes, the more fun the kids have that are playing. And if the people come, just think about it yourself. If you show up with your family and there's just chaos, are you going to go back? No. So that order really helps. The organization chart, we have this like crazy 17-page Excel tabella. I don't understand it. It's not my job. I just need to make sure people are there. It's really crazy, but that really helps too. Just take the extra time to make a table and say, okay, what do we need? How many people do we need there? Who's going to do it? Get those people locked in so that the whole daily functions work out. Because if you say, okay, I'm just going to wing it. Okay, we have 15 people here. Okay, you two do this, you two do that, you do this. It's not going to work long term. Team management is key, because we all know for Bahnmäßig we need Pair Passes, Spielbogen, Schiedsrichter, XYZ. Deutsche Bürokratie. Alles muss gemacht werden. I know for a fact, as you guys all know what's happened in the past few weeks here, what's happened with us, people are going to help. There are some people in German football that are... Darf ich schweren? Es gibt Arschlöcher hier, ganz klar. Aber die meisten sind gute Herzen. Die werden helfen, wann du fragst. If you have somebody who says, I really want to help, I can do this, I can do that, look around. Offenbach, new team, but with experienced people. So that's an Ausnahme. Go to Frankfurt. Schwäbisch Hall, okay, people come to you. You know, it's one of those things. But go to the teams that have been there and they've done that and say, hey, can you help us? If they say, nein, verpiss dich, dann sie sind Arschlöcher. Scheiß drauf. But go see the people that have been there and done that because they're doing something right. For example, the way we model our youth program, I look to Schwäbisch Hall. Why is that? Because Schwäbisch Hall has a badass youth program. Business-wise, look around. Who's really good? I was in Frankfurt. I know what they do. Braunschweig, check a little bit what they do. Football as a whole is not rocket science. We're not reinventing the wheel, even as coaches. If you create something new in 2016, it's going to be some crazy, crazy shit. Because football's been around for a while and everything's been there, done that. Okay, yeah, with the RPOs and all that, that's a different ballgame. But being a football coach isn't reinventing the wheel. It's just learning from other great coaches and taking the best stuff and presenting it forward. No one's reinventing the zone. The zone's the zone. No one's reinventing a smash combo. That's what it is. You just learn it and keep going. And with other programs that have success, just go and see what they do and just take what they have and keep going. Fan base. The fan base, you got to treat them well. You got to treat them as your family. But at the same time, they are a fan base. Your people that are in your verein doing the daily work, those are your people. But you got to keep that barrier between it. There's some clubs that have kind of lost that barrier, but it happens, you know. I didn't say anything. So you got to keep that barrier in there because when people sometimes you'll have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, as I like to say. You got to find that barrier to keep it in there because there's some people that have no idea what football is, but they think their opinion about the football team is the most important thing. So try to find that barrier in there and try to keep things rolling. Keep the fans, welcome them in for the game days and everything, but just keep rolling. And at the end of the day, your members make your club. Because die Mitglieder sind am wichtigsten. Because unless you have a huge sponsor, for example, Mainz, I don't think you guys have a real big sponsor. You have a bunch of sponsors.
No, we are part of...
Yeah, part of another Verein. Siegen, seid ihr selbstständig oder?
Many sponsors.
Yeah, so you have many sponsors that build up to be one. But at the end of the day, you don't have a sponsor throwing in 100,000. No. So with that, the Mitgliedgebühr and so is a huge part of the budget. And that's really important. So if the people don't feel welcome, they don't feel loved and all that, then they're gone. If you lose them, you lose your budget. But it's not even about the money though, it's about that whole family atmosphere because that's what a Verein's for. Now marketing, like I said, huge budget, nothing. We spent $25 last year. Facebook was key. We tried 2 boosted posts, and to be honest, those 2 boosted posts really didn't do anything for us. We got a little bit of feedback, but nothing. Just post stuff. Facebook's free. And no one, like the whole website thing, no one really even looks at our website, to be honest. Wir haben eine Homepage. Ist fast nie besucht. Nie. Wir posten etwas auf Facebook, wir posten so 1/4 des Artikels oder sowas als Vorlesen. Wir kriegen 10,000 Views auf dem Artikel, vielleicht 50 Views auf dem Website. No one really looks at the website. Facebook is king in modern day because no one sits on their handy at work and scrolls through websites. They scroll through Facebook, they see something cool, like it, see, okay, that's new, cool, keep going. Print media. Find out who the local sports writer is. I know who ours is here in the Taunus region. I hounded him. Ich war so tight, so nah dran. Ey, schreib das. Du rede mit ihm, bis er hat keine andere Möglichkeit, außer von etwas zu schreiben. Because if it goes in the paper, the people read the paper. The people learn about your club. And that brings more attention to your club and all that. Zeitschrift, I didn't know this at all. In most cities, they have like a local local magazine that goes out maybe once or twice a year. That goes out to all the companies. check that out, because who sponsors? Companies. If they're flipping through, oh, cool, football, see a cool picture of football, someone getting hit really hard, maybe they'll answer your email when you write them one about sponsoring, and then you can get more sponsors.
Little question to your sponsoring here.
Sponsoring's coming. Next slide. We'll come to it. High quality pictures, banners, and flyers. I did a list. I made a list up of every football verein in Germany with the contact email and contact name. So I saw a lot of websites and a lot of Facebooks. It took me a long time, but I got it done. High quality pictures, high quality banners, high quality flyers. That's a very, very small detail, but makes a huge difference. When I look on like a Facebook and I see like a Nintendo 64 James Bond really pixely picture, it doesn't come across as something you want to see. Take the extra time, find someone that is a hobby photographer or so, and get those higher quality pictures, because it just comes across more professional, and that catches the eye of people. And the same goes with the banners and flyers. You can ask the people in your verein. There's people that do those hobby things all the time, even if it's a mom or a dad maybe. Make a few flyers, make a few banners, get something printed up, and then you can go forward. Fan shop. I've played for 3 teams now here, but I've also been to a lot of games. The fan shop. I'm running one now, kind of. I know what the Einkauf price is in. What's more important? The profit or getting that shirt out there? Lower the price. Get something that you know is going to sell quick, because at the end of the day, the best marketing is the clothes and all that. When people walk around, I was talking to Marcel Duft. He spoke yesterday. Yep. Marcel played in Marburg. He lives here in Bad Homburg. He walks around. He's like, yeah, Tim, I saw like people on the street with the hat, people on the street with the shirt. That's how people learn about your club. People, when you're driving down the street, all those posters that are on the left side, no one really looks at those. Unless there's for us guys, if there's a really pretty girl or something like that, we'll look. But no one really looks at that. But if you see someone walking down the street with a huge logo or something on, that's the best marketing. Why is that? Why is that the best marketing? The fan shop. Anybody? Because the people pay you to market your club for you. It's the best marketing. You get paid for someone to market for you. Normally it's the other way around. You have to pay someone to do the marketing. And then the word of mouth, the events. If there's local Veranstaltungen oder sowas, say, hey, can we send our cheerleaders? Hey, can we send a few of our Jungs? What we always do like flash events. In Bad Homburg, there's a Luisenstrasse. It's like a 1.5 kilometer street with just shopping. We have a huge flag. We'll get a few of our guys in jerseys. They'll walk around with little flyers. Hey, have you been to a game? Hey, how are you doing? Just talk to the people. Maybe they're going to think you're the crazy guy, but it sticks in their head. And then maybe next time they'll talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, today I got spoken to by some crazy guy in a football jersey. We should go check out a game. They'll come watch a game. It's those little things. It's free. All you got to do is get 5 people together, walk down the street with a flag, and pass out flyers. Sponsoring. Little of a lot or a lot of a little. We went with the motto, a lot of a little. And that mindset of, I would rather have 10 sponsors for 1,000 euros instead of 1 sponsor for 10,000 euros. Because that 1 sponsor goes away, ich habe die Arschkarte. But if I have 10 for 1,000, if 1 goes away, du hast immer noch 9,000. So with that, I spoke with a person today from a company, and he was like, oh yeah, we don't really have any money, but we want to be involved. Okay, cool, we'll find a way. Because the more people you have on board, it also goes to the marketing and the word of mouth. This company here maybe has 50 employees. They send an email out, hey, we're sponsoring, we're a partner with this team now. Those 50 people tell another 3 people. Then the word of mouth is king, and it's free. For us, for example, in our first year, we had roughly 20 sponsors. So we had about 20 sponsors in our first year, which works. Got the job done. The give and take, for example, I just said, he said, okay, we don't really want to spend any money, but we still want to work with you. Okay, it's not all at the end of the day, it's not about the money, even though a lot of the last talk's been about money. It's not about the money. People can offer certain things. They can help you here, they can help you there. And you can help them in return. Because it's that good old American saying, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And sometimes you do get shafted, but at the end, most time, you will get taken care of. Question about sponsoring.
That was my question, by the way. If you have a big sponsors here, or you have like a lot of little sponsors?
No, I'd rather have a bunch of people on board because I also really focus on this area. Because for us, especially in Bad Homburg, it's a problem where everyone has their Stadtteil. I believe that we were the name of Bad Homburg. That comes back to that old American mentality that I have. Like in high school, I'm wearing Stonebridge, I'm wearing Broad Run. I'm not wearing my name on my back. In college, I wore Bryant, I wore East Carolina. I wasn't playing for myself, and that comes to this mindset when you have, oh, I'm from Gonsenheim, I'm from this Stadtteil. No, your Postleitzahll is Bad Homburg. You're playing for the city. So I try to help this whole region of the Taunus, because it's also kind of like a forgotten region, because you have Frankfurt, you have Wiesbaden, you have Offenbach. You got Offenbach over there. And then you have this Taunus region that kind of just forgotten. You have so many people here, but there's nothing really here, so people forget about it. Okay, everyone's like, oh, they're just part of Frankfurt. But no, someone from Usingen doesn't want to drive the 40 minutes to Frankfurt. Klar. So there's that whole region right here that's kind of just like a bubble zone where it's kind of untouched land, which also helps back to the success we've had because we have people all from Hintertaunus. No one really wants anything to do with them, so we took them. So someone's got to. And then with that give and take, we have a Sentinels card. For us, it looks like this. It's ein kleine Kärtchen. It's ran through our partners, EE Sports. There's companies, there's restaurants and all that. Like a normal restaurant can't give out $2,000. They just don't have it in their budget. But that comes to this whole give and take. You bring everyone to, and you get those people to buy in. So you go to a restaurant. Anyone works in gastronomy? The normal restaurant has a decent markup on the price of their purchase. You get them to say, okay, hey, I'm not going to give you any money, but I'll give you 10% discount for anybody from this is North of Mitglieder. So as you can see here, we have about 30 partners. So this card right here, for all of our members get it. And whenever they go to our partners, they get discounts. So it pays off to be a member in our club. We've got members just because of this card. For example, we have 5% at a Bio-Laden, Bio-Grocery Store. If you go Bio einkaufen, das ist teuer. 5% hier, 5% da, das lohnt sich für eine Passivmitgliedschaft für 50 Euro. Das lohnt sich. In einem Jahr locker. Wir haben Restaurants, 10% hier, 10% hier. Sushi, kauf 10 Euro, krieg Maki umsonst. Was haben wir noch? Wir haben alles möglich. Weil nicht jeder kann etwas geben. Der lokale Landwirt, er kann nichts unterstützen, er kann nichts geben finanziell, aber er möchte die Vereine unterstützen. Er sagt mir, okay, hey, wenn du bist Mitglied bei mir, kauf 1 Kilo Kartoffel, gebe ich dir einen umsonst oder sowas, weißt du? Es ist so, du bringst alle die Leute rein. Und das ist die große Blick. Weil wenn die Leute sind rein, das ist, was ich liebe über die Deutschen. Wenn die Leute kaufen ein, die gehen all in. Leute mit Tattoos von der Mannschaft, das ist verrückt, das ist geil. Das wird man nie sehen in Amerika. Aber die Leute hier richtig, die kaufen ein und those kind of people, vielleicht können sie nicht finanziell unterstützen oder so, aber die können irgendwie immer noch ein Teil davon sein. Und das geht auch zurück. Wir haben viele, die sind Fans von uns, dass sie haben einen Laden oder so. Und die sind Partners von uns, weil wir wollen kein Geld von denen nehmen. Aber wir wollen, dass die sind auch finanziell unterstützt. Because that's what it is. A Verein is a family. If you don't help them, you're not doing your job. So we have experience versus rookies players. This goes to everything a little bit. Players, staff, coaches, and fans. New is the best, of course. Not always, but new is great because you can mold them. Die haben keine Ahnung. They have no idea to the world, and you can just mold them and say, okay, listen, You're fresh clay. I'm going to make you exactly what I want you to be. You fall in line and we'll keep going. But old is also, I like the saying, old is gold. But it can also be a problem. But normally, in my experience, especially in the last year, people that have came from other Vereins to us, die hatten einen schlechten Ruf bei irgendwelchen Vereinen. Bis jetzt haben sie keine Scheiße bei mir gemacht. So it's okay. So that's old. The experienced guys are also good. We have a lot of experienced people by us from other Vereins. That's why we've had that instant success. With that though, breaking bad habits, we do have players from other Vereins. We do have coaches from other Vereins. We do have fans from other Vereins. It's really hard as a player or coach because we don't pay anybody. As much as everyone thinks that we have like just money flowing, we really don't. I can promise you that. I do the finance. Just for me, I take 50,000 a year and everything's good. No, but the players and coaches, it's really, really hard to change those habits because we only practice 2, 3, 4 times a week, you know? You don't have that much time to really break those habits. Like in the US, we were training football 5, 6 hours a day. The money, you don't really have that, for us, for example, we don't have that money to say like, listen, straighten your shit up or get out. We can't really dangle that money over their head because I'd be like dangling like a piece of paper that I drew like money on. And then it also comes to the will to change. Some people, we do it all too in our daily life. We realize that sometimes we have a scheiße gebaut. We messed up, but that will in turn sagen, okay, ich will das verbessern. Sometimes it just takes that minute for someone to realize it, but then that will to change and to get them on board to the system. I call it rebooting. We had one player, for example, that I had to reboot. He came from a different club. Ja, es war anstrengend. Manchmal möchte ich sagen, hey Digga, hau ab. But you can't really because you still have that feeling that you know, okay, he can be that guy that he wants to be. He's even said he wants to be it. But you just got to really help him for that. So I call it the reboot. Figure out a way to get him on board, bring him out to events because as a coach or a president or all that, the one thing I'll talk about a little bit later is it doesn't matter how much I scream. I can scream till I'm blue in the face. There is no way to change a player. Like I can yell. It's just like that parent mentality. I can yell. And the kid's going to look at me and go, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. But until his players, his teammates tell him to straighten his shit up, he won't change. And that's what will come later about that with the rebooting process. Coming to the football one, due to time, the coaches. For when I hire coaches, most would say I just look for American coaches, which isn't completely true, but kind of is. We have a coaching staff right now on the men's team of 11. From that, we have 6 Americans, 3 Americans that are coaches and players, and then 2 Germans. The reason for that is I have a ton of rookies. I want them to get the best coaching possible. And in this area, I don't know how I got those coaches, but I somehow pulled it off. And I feel like they could do the best job of the people I spoke with. I have nothing against German coaches. I actually like German coaches more because the communication factor is there. Because I know, for example, my offensive line coach, you know him, he's from Pittsburgh. I don't understand him half the time. He speaks to my players, and I can just see that look in their face. They're going, I have no idea what the hell you just said. I get that, but he's a damn good coach. He's coached in the first league, the American high schools, he's done all that. I wish he could speak German. He's been here for like 70 years now, but he still can't speak German. It just happens. But it comes to these 3 main factors when I look to bring a coach in, whether it's for the men's or through the youth. Commitment, passion, and charisma. The commitment is because the coaches need to be there. If the coach isn't there, he can't do his job. And they need to commit and buy in and believe in the system and believe in what the program is doing. Because if someone doesn't believe, Germans don't like to be verarscht. Du verarscht eine Deutsche einmal und es ist Feierabend. Es gibt keine zweite Versuch manchmal. Normalerweise, könnte man sagen. And then the passion to improve. That kind of really goes into the fact, like today, you guys coming down from Siegen and sowas. That's that coaching clinics and all that stuff, learning from other people, the passion to improve their game. That's what really is awesome. There's people that sit back and say, I know everything, I'm awesome. No, bullshit, you're not. It goes back to what I said earlier about learning from other coaches. You can never be at a point where you can't learn something new in football. Even Nick Saban can learn something new, I promise. He can learn something new, maybe like this much, but he can still learn something new. And then charisma. That's really, really important. That's mainly why I have American coaches, because there's still this mentality that Americans, it's our sport. It's the same in America. Our American soccer team coach is a German. Why is that? Because he knows soccer better than we do. It's just, we were born with it. You know, as, what was it, Lady Gaga? We were born that way. It just happens. So, without the charisma, the coaches really have that good personality. We have really, really high intensity coaches. And the guys love it. That's why we have so many guys at practice. I know you guys will think I'm lying to you, but a bad day of practice for us will be like 30, 35 guys. Our normal practice is like 65. That's like normal for us. If we have 30, 35 guys, we're pissed. And for our normal team in Germany, that's a good day. Because we bring that high intensity, we bring that fun, we bring that passion and all that stuff that we talked about earlier. And that last note, football knowledge. Yeah, of course, the guys with the football knowledge are important, of course. But, for example, Aaron here. Aaron comes from soccer. But he shows the commitment, he shows the passion, he shows the charisma, because he calls me or he writes me and he asks me nonstop about football. He's always in my ear, Tim, how can I do this? How can I? Like, hey, relax. We'll get to that. But that's the kind of people you need, because someone who's not willing to learn is useless. You don't need to be the next D1 prodigy to be a good football coach. You just need to have the passion and commitment to want to learn. If you want to learn, you can learn. As I said, that's the kind of people we look for, because they can start in a youth program, they can work with the youth and gain that experience and work their way up. And I'm really looking forward to the next few years with Aaron. But that's what we look for in coaches. Because everyone says, oh, who has the best resume? No, that's not always true. It's who has that passion, charisma, and all that, and wants to be that coach, because the players buy in then. If the players buy in, they'll be at practice. If the players at practice, your team's going to get better. If your team gets better, you're going to win. If you win, you get more members. If you get more members, you get more fans. If you get more fans, you have more success. It's all building blocks. When it comes to practice, I truly believe that the players want it. Of course, you're going to always have those few guys that are, oh, I worked an hour of overtime today, I can't make it. Okay, like, then go home. I don't even need you at practice, because you're just going to be a pain in the ass, you know? Those guys, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the guys. The guys play football because they want to play it, because they have that passion for it. Football is not a game that you can just show up and do. If you show up and do it, you're going to get hurt, or someone's going to get hurt. It's one of those things. The passion's got to be there, and I really, truly believe that the guys have it. The discipline, that's something that's got to be installed, because most sports here, for example, that's just a different game. That football discipline's got to be learned. You can lead a horse to water. You can really make that guy believe in it and buy into the system, but you can't make him drink it. Du kannst ihm so weit führen wie möglich, aber manchmal es gibt ein paar, das geht nicht. And that comes to that last point. No one afford him. Irgendwann, es gibt einen Player, du musst einfach sagen, okay, ich kann nicht so viel mehr Zeit verschwenden. Weil irgendwann kommt es der Punkt, wo du musst sagen, okay, I'm throwing in the cards, game over, I can't fix you anymore, du bist Krebs zu der Mannschaft. I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to get you there, but sometimes it just happens. Theory, I'm a really, really big believer in theory. We're here once a week in this room doing theory. Because you need smart players. Football is chess, Schach, with really big, strong, fast men that like to hit each other. It's not just, run into each other. It's chess. It's nothing but chess. I like to say it's a game of geometry. It's all about angles and physics and all that stuff. So with that theory, our new running back coach, Coach Coleman, says the best, paralysis by analysis. And for the English, those that can't speak so English so well, like myself. Paralysis by analysis, so man ist auf dem Platz da und überlegt alles. Und dann kommst und das Spielzug ist schon vorbei. If the guys aren't comfortable, they don't know the scheme, they don't understand the game, they'll be thinking. If you think in football, game over. You can think for those like 6 seconds from the huddle to your position, and then brain off, react, and play football. Do what your coach, but that comes to the theory sessions. We do 2.5 hours of theory every week, and not even just about our own stuff, not even just watching film, just to overall. I explain to my offense, I explain to my defense. My offense, for example, I guarantee you for my offense, I can say 75% could come here right now and draw you a 4-4 cover 3 and explain what's going on. A 3-4 cover 2 and what's going on. And that's key because then they understand their opponent. If you don't understand what your opponent is doing, how can you do your job? It's just like war at the end of the day. If you know what your other person is going to do, you can defeat them before the game even starts. But that all comes down to the theory. Practice planning. We do a daily practice schedule. Every practice, we have it broken down to periods and all that. I'll show an example of our off-season period right now, which isn't so intense because we do longer periods, really working on the individual skills. But I really think the plan is important. I send it out to my coaches, and most of the time I'll send it out to the players as well, so they know what to expect. Because they know what to expect, they don't get surprised, and they can go into practice, get it done. That's how we do it in the States, and I believe for a fact it works. You can start getting mentally prepared before practice even starts. I also do a monthly schedule, so no one can say, oh, coach, I didn't know I have practice today. No, bullshit, I told you 2 months ago you have practice today. No excuse not to be there. With that, we also come into the practice planning building blocks. We had a fall camp. It was 2 months, 8 weeks. Every practice built on each other. We had our O-line. O-line would do hand placement. O-line would do one-on-ones. O-line would do double teams. O-line would do double teams to second level. Everything builds on each other, step for step for step, and you don't just throw them into doing man coverage. You do basic building blocks and then grow the big picture. With the practice planning scout team, take an hour, 2 hours. You're not running against NFL offenses or NFL defenses here. Take an hour, scout it out, draw some scout plays up, get your scout team rolling. Because if you don't do scout team, you're doing something wrong. That's just like going into a fight without any bullets and hoping you find bullets on the field. It doesn't work. You got to scout. And then with that, the off-season speed and strength, just like Jonas just spoke about, that's key. Football it's a big man game. You got to be strong, you got to be fast. If you're out of shape, you're not going to be able to last all 4 quarters. For us, for example, we do 4 combines a year. We'll do one in February. We'll do one depends on how the leagues work out, we'll do one in August. We'll do one then in October, and then we'll do one right before Christmas. Because that end of the year thing is just because people get lazy. And you got to keep pushing. They'll think, oh, I got 6 months before the season starts, I get lazy. No, but the combine goes in and you can see. With that, we go in there, we test deadlift, bench, the 40, but on the 40, we focus on the 40, but more importantly, the 10-yard split. Because when was the last time you saw someone consistently run 40 yards downfield? It never happens. Unless you're a receiver just running go routes the entire time. But the 10-yard split's the most important part. Ask anybody in any level of higher football, the 10-yard split's the most important. And then we do the pro shuttle, lateral movement. And then we have it on paper, because if someone goes, coach, why am I not playing? I can say, well, listen, Combine 1, you did 5. Combine 2, you did 5. Combine 3, you did 5. Combine 4, you did 5. The person that's now starting did 5, 7, 12, 17. He worked his ass off. He earned it. That also gets them that proof to say, listen, this is why. Sorry, Abba, you got to work harder. The other person put the work in. So that's a really big thing that we do in our off-season program. For example, here's a normal practice plan. Our off-season was really, as you can see here, we did 45-minute periods just on basic stuff. Hand placement, steps, all that really small stuff that most people can't get in the season. I like to work on the off-season, this period right now in the fall. So people working on their first step on the zone and all that stuff. So we have it broken down, we have the time and all that, the minutes per session, who's coaching what, and what the activity is. And then everyone gets a really good idea of what's going on. Formats are all over the place. I love Excel. I'm an Excel nerd. It's really, really fun. So I did that. It's really easy. I have like a base page with all the different possible things that I've done or that I will do. And then I can just boom, 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 put a basic code in, pull it over. Everything's easy. But that's the nerd in me. But just something like that even gives that structure to practice so the guys know that when they come in, they have boom, 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 and they get it done. It's not just, okay, hey, let's see who's here today, let's have fun. You keep that base structure. If you only have one defensive lineman, scheiß drauf, bleib zum Plan. Because as much as as American as I am, Ordnung muss sein. And in football, that's stimmt 100%. When it comes to the playbook, know your personnel. I've gone around, I've done clinics, I've done coaching events at other places. Know your personnel. Don't just go on Madden, don't go online and look up a playbook and say, oh, that looks cool, they have a really good offense. I was in one city, I'm not gonna say which one it was, and I'm not gonna lie to you, the guy literally told me he went online and found an old Oregon offense and that's what he tried to install. You gotta know your personnel. You got to know who you have. If you have just big offensive linemen, run a power game. You got to just know who you have. Go to that. And also know your abilities as a coach. Don't expect, if you're like a first-year coach, to be able to download a college offense and then install that. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Really just figure out who you have, what you want. Ask other people. There's more than enough coaches in Germany that are willing to help. I can promise you that. Find a base system. That's what happened in one team I was with here. We had a base system, but we never really ran it. We just did all sorts of stuff. Every day would be like new, and it was like, it just didn't work. The guys were overloaded because we only have 2 practices a week. You can't install new stuff all the time. It just doesn't work. And that's with the quality over quantity. It's better to run 5 plays really well than 30 plays really, really shitty. Figure out your bread and butter. Get the bread and butter good. If you can run a badass trap, run it. Pull. I can tell you, pull, and run play action. And it works money here. Play action, if you don't run play action, install it. Anytime I even drop even a really, really bad fake down, the entire defense just freezes. They're like frozen. Just play action and pull, and you're gonna have success here from the offensive side. And if you're on the defensive side, learn to coach against play action and pull, and everything's good. With the players, most teams here, as you guys all know, if this isn't true to your team, tell me because I would love to hear it. You're gonna have a mix of young guys and old guys. You're gonna have a mix of rookies and experienced guys. That's just how it is here. If you have different, tell me. Aber ich habe es noch nicht gesehen. With that though, it comes into the roles of the leadership. You have your captains, you have your guys that just stand out and they know what they're doing, they know how to carry themselves, and they just run a team. Those are the guys that you can count on, bring them in, produziert dein Kern, and then you can build from that Kern. Get your core group of 10, 15, 20, 7, 6, 8, however many guys you have, get your group and then add on to it and just build, and then eventually you'll have a strong program. Of course you have your bad eggs. Try to help them if they don't want to get on board. Choose, because you have to figure out that time where you say that guy's just more harm than he is good. The police themselves, like I said before, it doesn't matter how much the coach yells. Yeah, you have that level of authority, but eventually that player control, the internal policing between the players goes a lot farther. I can promise you that. As a player, I could tell someone, get your shit right, and they would do it. As a coach, I yell at them, they just go, yes, sir, and they don't change. It just, that internal policing somehow has that control. Then, of course, you have your go-getters. Those are just your go-to guys, where you know, hey, if I need something done, that's the guy to go to. You got to find 1 or 2 of those, because that makes life really, 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 really easy. If you have that one guy that can just stand up, for example, in a D-line drill, just comes up every time, just knocks it out, does exactly what you say, everyone else wants to be like him. and then your life gets really easy as a coach. And my biggest thing is don't tell them failure, show them. As a coach and as a player, I don't really yell, ever. If you hear me yell, it's kind of like what Winston Churchill said, speak softly but carry a big stick. Like if I yell, it's like Feierabend, it's game over. I don't like to yell. For example, Mark, have you ever heard me yell? Never. I've cried a few times, it happens. With that though, these coaches come out and think, because they see it in movies, they see it on TV, just yell instantly. I say, okay, this is what it is. And you consistently mess it up. For example, what we do with our guys is when we do ladders. Eric spoke about it yesterday. That's our money, that's our really money thing. You get them to do 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot speed ladders, and you put all these combinations in. I have a really simple one where you have the ladder. I can't really show it, but you have a speed ladder. You start with your feet out. You jump into the first one, put your right foot in, left foot up to your butt. Jump out, left foot in, right foot. I learned it from a YouTube video from Drew Brees. I'm not gonna lie, I did not create this myself. I can guarantee you, 90% of your team when you go home will go like full brain dead. They got nothing. They're just jumping up, doing like all sorts of crazy stuff. Show them the failure and say like, instead of going, hey, listen guys, we gotta work on our coordination, like, oh coach, I'm an athlete, I'm good, I got this. Put them on a speed ladder, do these drills, and then be like, listen, I thought you were an athlete. We got work to do. And then if they see that themselves and they realize that they're not good at it, then you already opened the door to coach them. But if you just yell at them the whole time, they're gonna lock you out. And then with that, the last part about this is have fun. Team building events, because at the end of the day, this is a hobby sport. You just gotta have fun. So with that, we did paintball this year. That was so much fun. I think the guys loved having the opportunity to shoot me with paintball. I really think they did, I'm not gonna lie. Like they really had this big grin on their face when they were able to do that. Or for example, 2 years ago when I was in Frankfurt, we did a rope course. That builds that trust and everything. You build that trust, you work with each other and all that, and it's really, really good. And just team dinners. Just meet up, go out to dinner, have a beer. Because then once you get that brotherhood and all that friendly, then you fight for each other harder on the field. Simple things, as from the Verein standpoint, coaches or something like that. Okay, how many people do you ever practice normally? Trisig? 30? 20, Carson? 20 at practice? 20 to 30? Wie viel habt ihr in Training? 40? Wie viele Bier gibt's denn in Kisten? 20. Kauf mal 2-3 Kisten, das kostet nix. Das ist 40 Euro. Bring die Kisten rein, nach einem Training, drink ein Bier, die Jungs sind entspannt. Okay, yeah, we're all athletes, we shouldn't drink beer. We're all good, then they're gonna drink the beer anyways. So bring them together after practice, end practice 5 minutes early, drink a beer. Then that brings that whole family, friend activity, and like I said, they'll fight for each other. We brought a food truck to the field. That was awesome. Get a food truck, everyone comes in, pays $3-4, grabs some food. Because that hour that we lost on the track doing speed work, they brought their friendships and their brother stuff together. And what's the most important thing that you took from college? The workouts you did or your friends? Friends. And that's at the end. They're gonna fight more for their brother than they are gonna for a stranger. If they don't have that beer together, they don't have that burger together, they don't bond. If there's not a bond, then du hast 11 Spiele auf dem Platz, dass die versuchen 11 einzige Dinge zu machen. Aber wenn die kriegen das Bruderschaft, then you have one team. And one team wins against 11 individuals every day. And with that, and the last thing we did, we do competitions. We have tug of war rope, offensive line versus defensive line, receivers versus DBs. Then you get that smack talk, and that just raises competition. Because competition makes you better. If you're afraid of competition, you're in the wrong sport. And then obstacle course, we just do stuff like that. Just have some fun. Loosen it up a little bit, but still have that football mentality in there to compete, and that brings our guys to practice. Like for example, next week, Friday, that ends our fall camp. The guys already know, because that's how we work, that's how we do it, that we're gonna have some beers there, we're gonna have some food there, we're gonna do some competition. So they're excited. I can guarantee you we'll have 50, 60 guys Actually, probably even more at that practice just because they know there's free beer and free food. But that's, sometimes you got to do it. And that's all from me. Any questions? Cool. Then thank you for listening, and